I am also so grateful this morning to be joined by four members of our community to share their reflections on Thanksgiving this year in light of the impact of COVID-19. The four members are Lucia DeVernai, Toni Harrison, who lit the chalice today with her family, Vince Waldron, and Vicki Myers. Lucia will be speaking first.
Hi, good morning, everyone. I'm Lucia DeVernai, and I am one of the trustees on the UUCP board. And what I am most thankful for this Thanksgiving is the lessons of scarcity. In this country, we are really overabundantly blessed with freedoms and choices of so many things in the market and experiences and just things that there is just so much to choose from. But when something like a lockdown or a pandemic happens, suddenly all of our options are really, really limited or even completely taken away. So, this can mean a couple of things. Obviously, missing our friends and families and our traditions. I recently missed a funeral in Poland, where I am originally from, for a dear family member because of the pandemic. Couldn't see my family for Thanksgiving. But this scarcity of experience has also made me realize that there are a lot of things in my life that have been taken away just by the circumstances of the pandemic that I really don't miss. And that I was participating in a lot of experiences and doing a lot of things, spending my time with people who I don't miss. So I've had an opportunity because of the external circumstance to really reflect on the things that are most important to me that made my heart hurt, like being away from those I love the most during those hard times in life, but also made me realize that there are a lot of things that I am participating in that don't make my heart grow, don't make me a better person. And so, by externally through the pandemic, I've had the opportunity to really reflect on my priorities. And I am grateful for that, even in a hard time.
Good morning. I'm Toni Harrison. My family has been part of the UU congregation for over 15 years, but you may not be as familiar with myself as you would the other members of my family because I normally am working on Sundays. I talk about gratitude for years, I think. When I think about gratitude, I think about the appropriate use of comparison. I think that we need comparison in order to self-motivate and make goals. But inappropriately using comparison would cause someone to spiral into just negativity and being too hard on themselves. It can rob you of your joy, which it's hard to have gratitude without being able to appreciate joy also. I'm grateful for struggle because out of struggle comes growth and strength. And as individuals and as a nation, we've seen so much struggle this year, which has been hard on all of us, but also gives us the opportunity for strength and growth. I am thankful for the gift of cancer, which I know there have been families that have been devastated with cancer, and I'm not being flippant. I had two cancers before I turned 42, and it has given a layer of enrichment to my life and changed my career that I would not have had without the experience of cancer. Every life event is, I just want to wring the juice out of that moment. Birthdays, Thanksgiving, graduation, it's all so much more precious. And I think COVID has given a lot of us those same experiences. It's been hard. I'm thankful for all of the hospital workers. Nurses get a lot of attention, and they should, but I'm thankful for the cafeteria workers and the housekeepers and the patient care techs. And I'm thankful for physicians that have a spine that will stand up and say, no, we're not going to inject bleach into an IV. We'll investigate elderberry, and that didn't turn out to be as effective as we had hoped. Although vitamin D and zinc have some benefit, but you can't cure cancer, or you can't cure COVID with sunshine. So I'm grateful for experts that will take a stand even when it's not popular. And I'm thankful for the UU community. I take care of vulnerable people in disgusting or situations that on the surface and sometimes later on prove to be worthy of disgust and hate. And to enter those events with a heart of compassion and respecting the dignity of the patient in front of me requires that I rely upon the UU principles heavily. And then to be able to come and interact with our congregation and breathe in your normalcy and goodness is something that nourishes my soul. So I'm thankful to you, even though you may not realize how you've impacted my life. So I thank you.
It's a little hard to know exactly where I gave myself over to forgetting what day it is or losing track of time. I don't think it started after I retired last December. I was organized, and I was busy navigating my mother's Alzheimer's diagnosis and her move to assisted living. By summer, I could laugh and see myself in the memes and humors that others were posting. But of course, I set my sights higher. I was retired with no excuses for those unexplainable times of aimlessness and COVID brain. So I think my new path presented itself when I set all my self-imposed expectations aside and finally embraced the unpredictable messiness of this year. It took convincing. And I think is when I considered grace. It still takes reminding. I like these lines from a poem by Mary Oliver. You can have other words, chance, luck, coincidence, serendipity. I'll take grace. I don't know what it is exactly, but I'll take it. That quote speaks to my theology. Through those words this year, I found grace in unexpected places, like in conversations and long walks that led nowhere, in phone banking and calling strangers and being invited into their politics as if I was sitting in their homes, in the newness of meditation, as I explored how much chatter I and we could let go of, realizing there was no place more important to be except here and now. In seeing that everything that was downright awful about this year could become some crazy gift. And that brings me to grateful. I found new friends and went deeper with old friends. Those who let me into their lives, their thoughts, their struggles, their joy, all from the safe distance of technology. Can I tell my friends how grateful I am for that time? You lift me in ways I can never thank you for. And I know you're doing that for others. But what I'm most grateful for is what I both lost and gained. What I'm losing and gaining. This is a fluid time with vague boundaries for starts and stops. I lost the predictability of work, a measure of my being. And then the loss of routine, the world's everyday normal, and tangled up in all of that, I gained a kind of freedom in this COVID lockdown. Whew, that's a contradiction. The liberty to love myself in this time, to let go of ordinary, patterned, predictable this. To let go and forgive myself in all this craziness made room for me to see my husband differently, to see our relationship differently, and to choose to go deeper. To seek how we fit in this world, the room to see possibilities for this world differently. I am grateful for losing predictability and gaining room for the new. I'm losing my mother's memory of me, and with it, we lost all that was complex and difficult in our relationship. We've gained a different, a physically distanced love. I gained a happier version of my mom during COVID. I think I'm most grateful that grace is possible and that it can be as simple and as unpredictable as someone calling you to tell you the time of day or the day of week.
Hi, everyone. I hope you're doing well during this Thanksgiving season. I hope you're feeling safe and joyful. I hope you can share some of this time with family. Thanksgiving is one of my favorite times of the year, and I often have this strange urge to pray, to offer prayers of gratitude. Only problem is, I'm not really a praying type of guy, but as a Unitarian, service is my prayer. And what I'm thankful for this year is being part of a community that continues to serve, even under these difficult restrictions that we've had to deal with in these last months. It's a kind of service that I'll just call subversive service. People kind of sneaking around in the background, working together online, out of the spotlight, but still keeping things going, serving our local congregation community, but also the greater good. And I'm thankful for these folks, and I just wanted to give you some examples. So for instance, every Sunday morning, Marina Hoffman comes here to our congregation and gathers a small group of us. And what we do is cut brush and drag bushes and tend to the trees and the plants to make this beautiful space of ours just a little bit more beautiful. You've probably seen, if you've been to the congregation lately, this giant pile of brush that's gathered out front. And that's the work of Marina and her subversive crew. A number of us in the community have been working on behalf of public education. Melinda Iyer, one of our members, as a mover and a shaker on the public education front. A lot of us have been getting petitions signed and making phone calls and urging people to support public education. And, you know, that effort paid off this year, didn't it? Some of us have been involved in the election. Susan Goldsmith sits at her computer and sends out email after email, creating opportunities for people to get involved, letting us know, where we can write letters, who we need to talk to, how we can make a difference. So one of her messages spurred me to create a small group of us, which I called humbly Vince's Vote Squad. I sent out a message to some members of our congregation, and I was just really amazed at people who responded and said, yeah, I'll help. And we wrote 1,500 letters to voters in Georgia and Texas and Arizona. And that subversive service maybe just made the difference, right? To turn Arizona and Georgia blue. Kathy Kim has been organizing our supply drive to support folks on the Navajo reservation, quietly working in the background, gathering this enormous tidal wave of goods. She asked if I would drive my truck to the reservation, and I showed up one morning and was practically overwhelmed by the enormous pile of food, items, and clothing, all the goods that people in our community contributed. Gary Azell retired from his career at the Mayo Clinic, and I think he must be busier as a volunteer around UUCP than he ever was during his working days. Gary's kind of put the congregation on his back, and I think he may be helping facilitate the service today. So to Gary and to Melinda and Marina, all the subversives out there, I just want to say thanks for your service. Thanks for creating an opportunity for me to say my prayer in the form of service working with you. Happy Thanksgiving.